Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Turkish Philanthropy Forum's Voices of Partners. I'm your host, Edmira Bayraslı, and I'm super excited to be here today to talk about a really fantastic organization that is doing multiple things in Turkey. It is working with children in Turkey. It's focused on education. It's the Darussafaka Society, and we are joined by two members of the organization with Tayfun Öktem, who is the chairman of Darussafaka Society. And he is a very successful businessman. He's also a graduate of Darussafaka. So we're very excited to talk to him. We are also joined by Tunç Doluca, who is the president and CEO of Maximum Integrated. And Tunç and his wife, Lale, have a donor advice fund at TPF, and they have been very long-time supporters of Darussafaka Society through TPF. And we're going to hear a little bit more from him about why he and his wife are support this really terrific organization. I have to say, just in my work with Turkish philanthropy funds, I've been with, as everybody knows, with TPF for the past 10 years. And this is one of my favorite organizations. If you get to know the work that they do, it's really hard not to be very touched and moved by the work that they do, and very inspired by it. And so, Tayfun Bey, I just want to start off with you. If you can talk a little bit about Darussafaka's mission, what makes the organization unique, and tell us a little bit about the work that you do.
Well, thank you. It's a real pleasure to be in this frame together with a fine set of people. Thank you to you, thank you to Tunç Bey and to TPF. Indeed, the Darussafaka Society is a long-established NGO in Turkey, based in the 19th century, in fact, in 1863, by the Ottoman society at the time, by young leaders who really thought, why don't we really take education of our orphans and young ones who are underprivileged during the war times, and do something with them in terms of taking them forward for their education. Thanks to these five leading people at the time, in 19th century, Darussafaka was established. Darussafaka is in fact the first NGO in Turkey taking education as a worry and a mission. So our mission is, since almost 160 years, is equality of opportunity in education, equal opportunity in education, let's put it. And with this mission, we have, in spite of wars, famines, difficult times, pandemic situations, we have entailed to keep that straight line without any wavering along the way, to keep up with giving equal opportunity to underprivileged children who may have lost a parent and who are smart and talented but don't have the means. I am one of those products, if I may say. So for 157 years, this mission of equality in education, or opportunity, equal opportunity in education, has come forward, and we try to take this forward at every way. Next generation after each, we're trying to build and move on like a flag race, if I may put it.
Can you just tell us a little bit? I mean, the mission is just one that's so valuable, and it's so needed in every society. And in Turkey, it's doing such a great service. and it's doing work all throughout Turkey. So it's not located
No,
in one area.
no,
Can you talk
no.
about how Darussafaka Society works throughout Turkey?
With pleasure. Indeed, our aim is actually to penetrate to the smallest village within the country. In fact, today we have about 192 different locations, towns from Turkey, who with students coming almost 50-50, girls and boys, getting equal opportunity in education with the funds made available by the good people, put into use by the Darussafaka Society through the school system that we have. We do because equal opportunity starts with being aware. So we take penetrating and giving the news as a priority. Then the student or the young one needs to be able to enter the examination. We go even that far. So we try to really make sure every eligible student, we believe last year it was in the order of 9,000 students at fourth grade, and has lost at least one parent, and underprivileged economically, and is smart. So out of these 9,000 students that we are trying to reach them all to make the story go, and then take them to the examinations, at least to the extent that we even cover their costs to take the exam, their travel costs and things like that. And they don't have to travel to Istanbul. We do have examinations within 24 different big cities across the country. So we take equal opportunity to the extent that not only education, but being aware, taking the exam, and then even traveling to the school for initial orientation and whatnot. So we take our mission seriously, and we walk the talk. Let me put it that way. And one thing I have to emphasize for the donors' purpose, we are, if I may humbly say, we audit ourselves by third party for our corporate governance. The corporate governance obviously is an important element for the donor to show transparency, reliability, accountability, and the fact that if somebody tries to do something, that indeed that funds goes for that purpose. I'm happy to say we have led the NGO peer as well, peers in Turkey, since 8-9 years. For 8-9 years, we have been asking ourselves for third-party audit for our corporate governance from a point of 8 from 10. Now we are at 9.63 and trying to incrementally go up. And I'm happy to say, within our journey, we have taken other NGOs together. So we have played to be a good example to our peers. I must proudly say, now we are at a level that every year we are trying to beat each other for that incremental little that is left, that is asymptotically basically going, which will never reach 10. Why am I saying all this? There is this is a symbol of the trust that is being embodied in the organization by the people. If the people did not find the organization fulfilling the mission and spending the funds to the purpose, I believe there would be hesitance, at least, to really support it. I'm happy to say, in spite of many mishaps, including this year, we have had enough funds to keep up the flag, if I may say. But good people like the Doluca family, Leyla and Tunç Doluca, uh, activities like this excite us even further. Us, the board members who serve by election, who have limitations by governance rules to serve, and are doing the work totally on voluntary basis. So we are here only to serve for equal opportunity education with our heart, just because we feel we can only partially try to pay back the good hand that has been given to us by the society, the Darussafaka Society, and the good people. So, what is the chairman trying to say? Uh, we are here, we are bidding for the good support of these fine, good people, and we can proudly, humbly say that the trust that has been shown to us by almost 160 years and by third party acceptance of our transparency, accountability, and good corporate governance, we can, with good comfort, say that the funds will go for good purpose, the intended purpose.
Great. Well, thank you so much. Sushant, I want to bring you into this discussion
Sure.
and get your perspective, since you are a donor and a big supporter of Darussafaka Society. What motivates you? What about their mission makes you stands out and makes you want to support them?
Well, I mean, my wife and I and my daughters, we've made our home here in Silicon Valley. And just to give you a little background, I've been part of a very successful technology company, and that enabled us, first of all, to have the finances to be able to help. Over the years, we discussed with Lale, how to give back to society, and especially to Turkey, because after all, Turkey was where we were both born and raised. And after all these years, we're still drawn to. And we decided that our focus was really going to be on helping less fortunate families and persons in need of education, food, and shelter. So we said, let's kind of, instead of distributing to a lot of causes, and there are plenty in the world, we said, let's focus it more. And we have great organizations that we actually do get to help in our local area here for some of the, especially food and education purposes. And we actually did help some organizations in Turkey before through, there's a volunteer organization here called the Turkish Education Foundation. It's in the Bay Area and it's just only volunteers, so it's not an institution like Darussafaka is. But we used to help through that. And frankly, we were looking for, how to make a bigger contribution for the purpose of education in Turkey. We actually, and I'll tell you the story because it is interesting, because Haldun Bey, the founder here, he visited me in my office about, I'm going to say 6-7 years ago now, I can't remember, telling us about TPF. And he said something there that I'm not going to forget. He said, if you do plan to give and donate money and help people, it's better to do it when you're alive, he said, because a lot of people put it in their wills. And if you do it when you're alive, you not only feel good, but you've helped people earlier. And that stuck in my head. And I always remember that with Lade. Essentially, what we found so valuable in Darussafaka was exactly all the things that Tayfun Bey talked about. The first 10 years of our education, in our view, is the ages where we all acquire our habits. We develop our passions. Our characters are molded. I mean, those are the really critical years if you think about yourself or if you think about others. And many of us have been fortunate enough to have parents that supported us and molded us through those years. But a lot also do not. So in Turkey, we know that there are many smart, capable, high potential kids that never get this opportunity. Why? Because they're in poverty. They're either motherless or fatherless, or even have neither. I mean, that's also a possibility. So we thought that Darussafaka was really a good institution for us to contribute to. But the real kicker, I'll tell another story here, is where we were trying to figure out how to do this. This is before we really got good knowledge about Darussafaka, and some university in Turkey had approached us to see if we could help them. And every year, I actually visit all of the offices of our company. There's about 24 around the world, and we happen to have actually 2 offices in Istanbul. So I make it a point. It's a dual-purpose trip, both business, and I also get to see my friends. And I remember in one of these, nights with my college friends, which I only get to see maybe once or twice a year. We had dinner, and of course we had some raku, and we were talking. And I asked them about, such and such university is asking for donations. What do you think about that? And guess what? Turns out one of my college friends, Hakan Tahiroğlu, he happened to say, well, wait a minute, I have a much better cause for you than giving to universities. And he actually told me about the story, all the things that Tayfun Bey just summarized. He, explained all very passionately. And I went back to home. Next day, I told Lale all about this, and she said, wow, I know about this, Cemiyet for years. So sounds like that should be it. So all of these decisions are, you think that you think a lot about it and consider, but it's just one moment that makes a big difference. And in our case, it was, this conversation we had with, Hakan Bey, and he, his, ability to convince, I guess, me and indirectly my wife that this was a good cause. So, and I also remember one more thing. I had a really good college buddy when I went to school in UC in Santa Barbara, University of California, Santa Barbara. His name is Bülent Tuşray. He also is from Darussafaka. And I remembered immediately how fine a human being he was, how successful he was. And I said, well, here's a product that at least I've personally known and went to school with for a couple of years. And that also helped me out. But the most important thing in our minds was, those first 10 years of your education are the most critical ones. They really mold you. And I think for that reason, and for the fact that Darussafaka is really helping, making things equality. I think you said it, Tayfun Bey. Equality in education is important, and many of us do had the support when we're growing up, but there are also thousands and thousands of people that don't, and that's why we decided to really support. And we also thought that this year was important because, again, sometime in the summer, my old friend again, Hakan, called me up and said, look, COVID-19 has hit us. Donations are down. We really need help. Can you do something? And I said, well, I called Şenay Hanım of TPF, and I said, so what do you suggest? And they said, well, let's do a matching campaign. I said, sounds like a great idea. And off we went.
Well, that seems like a great moment to actually make an announcement about that matching gift. Just as Tuğçe just said, that he and his wife are providing a matching gift of $250,000 to Darussafaka Society. And Haldun Bey, Haldun Taşman, who is the founder of TPF and who we spent time with in the last Voices of Partners, is making a $50,000 donation to Darussafaka Society's campaign. And we're super excited to be announcing that, along with the donation, the generous donation that Tunçbay and his wife have made to the society. And I mean, I have to say, just listening to both of you, I think it is such a worthwhile cause. I think it's so important not to forget those who are less privileged, who may have lost a parent, who may have lost two parents, especially in this year that has been so tough for everyone. And I think that Darussafaka Society really touches on the notion of community and really coming together. So Tunçbay, thank you. Thank you very much, Tunçbay, for your generosity. I also wanted to bring in another supporter of Darussafaka Society, Ömer Ertuğ, who is one of TPF's most active philanthropists. Ömer Bey is having a little bit of a problem connecting, but he did send me a little note that I will read out loud now. Ömer Bey has two separate funds at TPF to support Darussafaka Society. And he not only provides funding, but he also guides the organization through spending time and through insights and guidance and advice. And so he writes that he'd like to thank you, Tunçbay, for your generosity, and for TPF for organizing this campaign for Darussafaka. Through this campaign, he writes, tonight we will try to reach the Turkish American community, Americans with affinity to Turkey and many Darussafaka graduates who had settled in the US. We need their financial contributions to Darussafaka's efforts in creating equality and educational opportunity in Turkey. After I retired from my faculty position at the Iowa State University and from my senior position at the UN, I moved back to my home country, Turkey. After settling in Istanbul and following my decision to transfer my family members their shares of family wealth, I decided to use my share of the wealth for philanthropic purposes. I believe in a type of philanthropy called focused contributions. The strategy in that involves choosing a sector and then selecting an institution with which one could make the greatest possible impact. So based on that, I chose the education sector. Then I started to search for an institution with solid reputation and measurable accomplishments. After a long search, I discovered Darussafaka. During the fall of 2012, I visited the institution and I told the person who welcomed me that I wanted to get to know them. Her reply, "We also would like to get to know you." And that was a great answer. Darussafaka is 155 years old, although I think Typhon Bey, you said 157. Financed only through private contributions. It's survived the collapse of an empire, the formation of a new republic, 2 world wars, and several military coups. It is a trustworthy educational institution that reaches out to recruit successful low-income students with a lost parent or both. Qualified students through a teaching process to activate their entry at the 4th grade elementary school level. From the 4th grade to high school graduation, all of the accepted students board at Darussafaka's campuses that houses nearly 1,000 students. Almost all of the Darussafaka high school graduates are accepted into various universities in Turkey, and a few presently are attending universities in Europe and the United States. Regarding COVID-19, Darussafaka efficiently and effectively switched out to distant education for all students except the seniors who remain at campus to prepare for graduation and college entry examinations. Since 2014, I've been serving in Darussafaka's advisory board. There, I successfully activated a university scholarship program for qualified low-income orphan and non-Darussafaka high school graduates. After 6 years of operations, we already have several students received university diplomas, and this year we are hoping to increase the number of students in the program to 40 or possibly more. I'm greatly honored to be part of such an excellent educational institution that helps many underprivileged students without a father or a mother to become a productive member of the Turkish society. And Mr. Ömer Bey, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. I was reading your words, and you could have actually easily said that.
I could have read it myself. Sorry.
I apologize.
But something was wrong. my internet provider is so bad. So it took me almost 30 minutes to, I was hearing all I was receiving it, but I couldn't connect.
Oh, I'm sorry, but it's so good to have you here. It's so good to have you as part of this discussion. Is there anything that you wanted to add, Omabe?
I'm very happy to see both Mr. Öktem and Mr. Doluca. And I would like to thank them both for joining TPF for this effort. And we have to reach out, as you read in my summary, we have to reach out to the Turkish Americans and Americans who have some affinity to Turkey, and also the Darussafaka graduates who live in the United States. So we have to match Mr. Doluca's funds. So I hope we will have a very successful evening.
Great, wonderful. I wanted to round out our discussion. Typhon Bey, Omabe touched on COVID-19 and how it has affected, and I know that you and Tunç Bey touched on it, but can you talk about the work that you are doing now amid the pandemic?
Sure, with pleasure. A warm welcome to Omabe, by the way. It's been a while. We haven't seen each other because of the pandemic. Of course, this unprecedented pandemic really disrupted many things globally. UNICEF reports suggest 1.5 billion students had to stop or somewhat get inferior level of education, which is about 90% of students worldwide. When we heard first about the pandemic coming, I'm happy to say we proactively made some A, B, C, D plans that when the first patient would be seen, that would be activated clearly. And thank God, I think we have done quite good education-wise, thanks to our good infrastructure digitally. We could start from the first day after having safely transferring our children to their homes from day one, and with education. And remember, please, that we're talking about different corners of the country. So there are some regions and villages with even lack of technical possibility. The organization managed to circumvent these. The financial ones are the easier ones because you give certain mobile devices and it gets through. Everybody at the school has iPads anyway, but of course, after sending the hardware, if you will, you had to follow up with the education as well. I'm happy to say from day one, we could continue on with our education. For an institution like us, which dwells on culture, a roof under which there is a culture, it's very difficult. It's more difficult if it's a boarding school. So we suffered for both of them. The boarding element, we sort of circumvented by sending them to their homes, but we had to make many precautions for the time that they would be coming back. Today, the seniors are at school as we speak, studying for their college exams. And they are scared we will ask them to go home. They're enjoying the good environment, the good, safe environment that we are providing. But I think technically we have kept ourselves definitely above our peers, including universities and private schools. I will not be humbled with this, but the culture of being under one roof, what Tunç Bey said, the brotherhood, sisterhood, watching out after each other, the rules, the do's and don'ts, the how-tos, and even dressing up the children with, how shall I say, more appropriate social ways and means and behavior, because we bring students from all over the country and really melt them in a, so to speak, Darussafaka culture, which really represents the modern image of Turkey, the one that we aspire, the Western looking, aware of the world, a world citizen, following Atatürk principles and of the Republic, questioning everything. They do today. I mean, they even do art, music, and physical education, I'm happy to say. But it's not the same. It's second best. So, in a nutshell, I think in today's world that we have to survive, we have done relatively good. It's second best, but I'm hoping that we are at least better than our peers. Nobody would have desired to be in such a situation. We have health-wise, education-wise, sustainability-wise, I have to say, I mean, as Tunç Bey put it, of course, in the first instance, people said, wait a minute, what's happening? First I need to take care of myself, my family. It's humanly. But thank God, really, after also the professional teams' active professional efforts, they have come up with concepts of, packages, if you will, for distant education, things like that. I think we're back on track, but for sustainability, we need good people like the Doluca family, like the TPF's cooperation, like Ömer Bey, like Haldun Bey. Thanks once again. I think I have a belief. This world keeps on turning, thanks to good people. I think the good people need to be more cohesive for the benefit of the good. And here, in the micro sense, I think Darussafaka is asking actively, I have to say, for the good people in North America, in the US, really to consider whatever it may be, $1, $10, whatever. We guarantee that it will be used for the purpose, especially to those graduates of Darussafaka. We have good brothers and sisters on the ground. We would welcome their help and cooperation. We, the graduates of Darussafaka at the board, guarantee that nothing less than 100% will be used for the purpose.
Great. I want to pick up on what you just left off with, asking people to donate, whatever they can, whether it's $1 or $5. Tunç Bey, Ömer Bey, can you kind of encourage, how would you encourage people to do that? I know that as somebody who's on a teacher's salary, I can't give as much as Haldun Bey or yourself, but I would like to give something. What advice would you give someone like me?
May I just say one thing, please?
Yes, please.
I think this is a two-way motivation. I think when we see the support and the good heart, we, the volunteers, get excited more. When we get excited more, we share our passion more. Then it becomes an avalanche. I think that's the secret. We have young kids who are sending their Bayram bits and, small money change, 5 liras, 10 liras. We welcome. I especially try to call them and say thank you, because we have to give this two-way electricity between the sides. Sorry to interrupt, but I think this is important. So, I can do $1, you can do $10, somebody can top up to $150,000. This is great. Sorry.
That's okay. Great. Tunçbay, can.
Well, I was waiting for Mary to say something first, but I mean,
I'm sure you hear me because my picture is frozen.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I'll go first. So, what we have a lot of activities in my company to help local causes and so on. And what works best, I found, is in our case, the leadership team to lead by example. And if you show people that you're doing it and tell them the reasons why, which is the main purpose of this, this broadcast and this recording, I think people do get excited about it, and they will contribute. As Typhoon Bey said, there are a lot of good people in this world, and they just have to know. I think it's getting the word out is probably the most important of everything. Clearly when we were doing our search, we were fortunate that we, ran into Hakan and he told us about it. So it was really, learning and getting the word out is probably the most important. And that can be done, sometimes one at a time. Emails that we send to people, like I'll be doing pretty soon. And if each person tells somebody else, and if these are people that, if advice is coming from people that people trust, then they go ahead and, take the action. We didn't, looks like Marbey really took a methodical approach in finding Darussafaka. Mine was more, I guess, a conversation. So it was much quicker, but I always felt that we'd arrived at the right conclusion. Even though we were not as methodical as Marbey.
Marbey, would you like
Is it my turn to say? Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. And that's an excellent question. And we have a representative from the Turkish American community. Mr. Doluca represents them. And there are so many of them, but at least he joined this effort. And I think he will set an example for others to follow. But my main concern is the Darussafaka graduates. I like to waken them up somehow with their responsibility. And many of them have forgotten their school. And we talked about it. Typhoon and I discussed these issues before. Not only in America, but even in Turkey, we have to bring the graduates to their responsibility to school they graduated from. And this will be one trial in America, as Typhoon Bey said, $1, $10, $100, anything that will help. Because as I mentioned in my summary, that we are hoping to expand the capacity from 1,000 to 2,000 students. And this is planned. We have the drawings and everything is ready. All we need is the money. So this is a good start. I congratulate all of you for taking the first steps to help Darussafaka. I really think they deserve this attention. And actually for many, many years, they did not get the necessary attention, except with some very private individuals who give their estates to this wonderful organization. And with that contribution, they survived. As I said in my summary, they survived an empire and a republic, and they survived coup d'etats, you name it. They survived, and they're thriving, they're expanding. So I'm proud of Darussafaka.
Great. Well, I am proud to have hosted this discussion to learn more about an organization that is doing tremendous work to not only educate, but to bring community to Turkey. So you can go to the TPF homepage to make a donation to Darussafaka Society, and we encourage you to do so. I want to thank Typhoon Bey, Tunç Bey, and Ömer Bey for joining me today, and thank all of the viewers who are tuning in and who will tune in to hear more about this. We will continue our Voices of Partners discussions next month on November 18th, and we will send out more information about that. I always enjoy spending this time learning more about the organizations that Turkish Philanthropy Funds works with. And so I definitely encourage everybody watching this to sign up at TPF Funds on their website and to learn more about the organization, because it does such a great work on a number of different fronts for organizations that are doing tremendous work in Turkey. So thank you so much for joining us. And until next month, bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Emir Hanım and Selim Hanım.
What a pleasure. What a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.